Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. It's me, Steven, and I've got a guest star here. Hold on, let's see if she'll say hi. Hello. Hi, Eleanor. Oh, you. Oh, big yawn. Let me get that belly. Let me get that belly. Oh, maybe not. Okay. There's a bag for my little cuties over there. She loves to chew on plastic bags. All right, so today is May 12th, 2021, which means bidding opens for June. So I'm going to jump into Flicka, and I figured I'd take you along with me for the ride. My goal today is to look through the lines and see if there is one that fits my needs for June, ideally. And so June is going to be a little tricky for bidding. I've got two things I have to work around, and I really didn't plan for this very well last month, but so the last trip of May for me runs into June 2nd. So if I bid for a line and there's a trip awarded that either it overlaps that or touches it, that trip, the one in June, would be removed from my schedule, and I would have to look into another section of Flicka after I think the 26th, I think it is, to try and pick up hours to replace that. It's not as complicated as it sounds, but it's still something I usually try to avoid. I hate being staffed. That's what that's called, schedule adjustment period. Also, I have a vacation week scheduled, and I had to write down what my vacation is. I really can't afford to do anything for my vacation, so I really haven't thought about that week at all, but my vacation week starts on June 21st, and it runs through the 27th. So my goal there also is to find a schedule that gives me full credit for the month, that allows for those days or those trips to be avoided, giving me full credit for my vacation, because I can't pick up on my vacation hours, unfortunately, like some other airlines, and also to avoid being sapped for that trip that ends on the 2nd. Does that make any sense at all? Maybe it'll make more sense later on when I'm showing you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to jump into Flicka, and I'm going to do my best to show you my screen. I don't have any fancy editing software. If you know my channel, you know that for sure. So I'm just going to try to angle the camera so that it avoids certain parts of the screens, which would show other coworkers' names and numbers and stuff like that. So I'm going to try my best to avoid those parts of the screens, okay? So let's take a look at Flicka. All right, so here's the start screen here. There's a couple things I've already done that I should have probably waited for, but in the top right, at the top middle, you're gonna see a banner that pops up that says, basically, in order to move forward, you have to go over to additional bid options, which is over here on the right-hand side. So close out of that, click on this, and there's three things at the top you have to take care of first. The first one, and I've already done this, so when I hit cancel instead of apply, that's why. Waive 24/7. Do you want to waive your 24/7 in order to maintain schedule integrity? We're not allowed to work more than 6 days in a row. So if, for example, we have I don't know why we would, but we were scheduled 8 days in a row, in order to do that, I would have to have waived my 24/7. We're by law required a 24-hour period every week of rest. So by waiving that 24/7, that tells crew scheduling, if you give me a 24-hour layover during my scheduled that block of time, then we're both legal and we're both okay. So I always hit yes in terms of waiving my 24/7, because it usually gives me a larger, wider window in order to work more hours. So I always say yes. I don't know anybody that actually clicks no. If you work for my company and for some reason you're watching this video and you click no, leave me a comment as to why. Because I always want to work as many as I can. So I'm going to hit cancel here because I've already done that. Waive 33/7. Similarly, this, I believe, this, and it may be wrong, also correct me if I'm wrong, we aren't supposed to be able to be scheduled, I think, more than 33 hours in a week. So by waiving that, again, it gives me a wider window in order to be available to work. So I always hit yes. Next, ready reserve. Now, if I were to, I'm a line holder, if I were to go back and work a reserve line, some people do that on purpose for some reasons. I would never do it myself, I don't think. But if I were to want to work a reserve line, and I'm a line holder, chances are I'd be senior enough to be exempt from sitting ready. The top 20% of people who are in reserve will be exempt from sitting ready reserve, so they don't have to sit at the airport for 5 hours. If you are junior, and you click, basically, if you say yes, that means you are willing to sit ready reserve, and you're going to sit ready reserve practically every day. Trust me. So unless you like to be at the airport, click no. That does not mean you're not going to sit ready reserve. If you're super junior and you're not exempt, you still may be required to sit ready reserve. So it's not saying you're not gonna, but it's that you're not volunteering to. So there you go. All right, so the last two, I don't bid for relief lines. I don't like them. Buddy bids, I don't know anybody I would buddy bid with. So I hit okay, and we can move on. So as I told you earlier, my goal this month is to get a line that works around my lead-in trip and my vacation. My vacation this year is, I have 2 weeks of vacation. 1 week I've opted to take as float vacation, so I can apply it towards a trip at some point this year if I want to. Some of it can carry over till next year. I don't know if you heard that. I almost stuttered. I used to stutter as a kid, and for some reason, it just about stuttered there. The week that I have scheduled for vacation is June 21st through the 27th. So my goal is to find a line that allows me to fly around those days. So to do that, to find that, I'm going to go far to the left here. And I apologize for it being way over here, but I'm trying to avoid showing you my coworkers' names and numbers. But it says sort up here. I'm going to click sort. And when you get to the sort screen, there's a whole bunch of options here. And this is in the advanced mode. Basic mode is kind of useless. But so I'm going to click days because this is really how I'm going to start searching for my lines. I'm going to scroll down. If you were on reserve, you could choose this one. It says guaranteed days off. That would show you the lines in order of which ones have guaranteed days off and where they are. But I'm going to go down to specific days off and click that. And on the left, let's see if I can do this. Aha, great. On the left is a little calendar that pops up. Now, once again, my trip in May ends on June 2nd. Ideally, I don't want to work on the 3rd, so I'm going to click the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd off. I'm also going to go down and choose the 21st through the 27th off. Now, I don't know if there's going to be a line that has all of these specific days off, but wouldn't it be nice if there were? So I'm going to hit apply. And this is down here a reminder of the days I had asked for off. And I'm going to hit apply. And let's cross our fingers. All right. Well, it looks like it might exist. Kinda. Yeah. No, it doesn't exist. All right, so on my screen, on my computer, for some reason, I can't see it as well as you do, but on here, on the screen you're seeing, do you see that pink line? That pink line tells me that, wah, wah, you're not getting everything you need. But, so the days I wanted off were 10 days off in a row. Up here, across the top, you'll see 8. I'm not sure if you can see that, where it says 8 and 7 and things like that. So that's telling me that the lines below have that number of the days off that I requested. So not fantastic, but let's see what we can work with. So I'm going to take a moment to look at the lines, the trips that are available. and I can't show it to you because when I click on these, it shows hotel information and all sorts of security information. So, but for example, if I were to right click on this number, this pairing, that would show that from here I can see that it has a Denver layover, a Houston layover, and then I come back to Las Vegas that next day. If I right click it, it's going to show me all the trip information: time away from base, ground time, sits, layover lengths, duty days, all the information for that pairing would pop up in a little window. And if I open one of those, I think you're going to see just information that would not be safe to share with you. So I'm going to take a look at a few of these lines and then put some on my bid package, and I'll show you how I do that. So one sec. All right, so to maximize my choices here and my odds of getting something that will benefit me financially, I'm gonna forget requesting the first days off of the month and just select the 21st to the 27th as my days off for my trip, for my month. So I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to hit apply again, and then apply a third time. And now, well, all right, it's better than it was. You'll see across the top here, this little white line that says 777. Those are the 7 days I've requested off for my vacation. The pink line over here says 6s and then 5s. That means that there are trips that overlap my vacation. And so if I were to get any of these lines, I would still have my vacation, but I'd also lose credit for those trips that touch my vacation. And I'd have to go into SAP when it opens up and try and pick up hours to replace it. So I like to just play it safe. I like to avoid being SAP'd entirely. Some people like to play with SAP and they can add hours to their month. It's just too much work for me. So looking at the, 5 lines that have my vacation off, I can already see from here that the first trips for each of those 5, one of them, and it's that Newark turn, is the least number of credit hours. Each of these other trips have between 18 and 19 hours of credit that I'd miss. Here, it's only 10 hours of credit. The rest of the trip would be remain intact. And the credit is fairly good for those trips for what they are. So this is going to be my first choice, number 84. So I clicked on that, and you'll see that it shows up first on my bid page here. So 84 is over there. Then what I'm going to do next is look at each of these trips to see which is the next least amount of credit, because I don't want to lose too much, and I'll add those to my bid package. So let me see what happens here. Okay, so I looked at all of these trips across. I've clicked on them in the order that I want them. So you'll see the 84, 80, 83, 32, and 133 are the lines that I'm choosing to be my first choices. You'll see that when I click on a number up here, the line turns gray, just to remind me that I've already selected that line. This one I've already selected, but I haven't hit another key, so it still says white. I can go up here to the navigation bar and see that little recycling sign almost. I can click that, and that refreshes the page to show me all the things I've clicked on. If I wanted to move one of these lines up or down, I could, for example, if I wanted number 133 to be my first choice, I could click on the 1 that's next to 84, and that moves everything down one spot. If I did it a couple times, it would create some spots so I could put some things as my new tops, my first choices. I can also go in and delete those spaces, and there you go. So my next goal is I can't just bid for 5 lines. I usually bid for all lines just to get, just to be safe. So now what I'm going to do is go through the remainder of the lines. And since all of them pretty much touch my vacation, I'm going to look for the lines, the trips, the pairings, I should say, that are more desirable for me before and after my vacation period. So I can at least choose, trips that I like to go on. All right. So I opened up my shirt. Hi. So yeah, that's going to be really tedious, super tedious. So I'm not going to show that to you. So yeah, I'm going to go through the lines, see what trips I would be able to work. If trips touch my vacation week or the days that I'm flying for my lead-in trip, those trips on that line would be removed from my schedule. And that would be blank on my schedule. I would be able to then go into SAP, which is a pool of trips that opens up, I think it's the 26th, and go in and replace some of those hours with trips I can find on the board. But I just hate being sapped. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I will be awarded my line on the 17th, I think it is. So I'll post this video then when I find out what I was awarded. It'll be hard for me not to post something after I've already filmed something, but right. All right, so I will see you in your time. It'll be just a second or two. For me, it'll be 5 or 6 days. All right, so I'll see you soon. Hey guys, hi, welcome to Tampa. I am deeply fatigued. Oh my goodness, I am tired. We had a San Juan turn last night. We got into Tampa about 5:30 this morning, and I was going to take a good long nap for about 4 hours, and then I realized bidding closed this morning at noon, I think. And I hadn't finished bidding. I listed like 50 lines in my bid package, my bid sheet, but that wasn't really enough for my comfort level. So I figured, I should really go back into Flicka and finish bidding. So I just added some lines that weren't the worst, because I really couldn't find any lines that were perfect to match up with my needs for this month. And I think I described my needs in the other parts that I filmed. And so I just added some lines. And while looking through the bid package, and I look at every single line, I found one line that was as good as I could get in for maximizing my vacation time for June. And so I moved that one line to the top of my list for my bid package, my big sheet. Guess what I got? I got my first choice. I usually get one of my first choices because no one really wants the lines I pick up. I like red eyes and things like that. I got my first choice and I'm so excited. So I'm not going to show you the whole bid sheet because it shows all our hotel information, all the flight information, and I'm not sure how secure that is, how that secure that information should be. So, but let's talk a little bit about what I got for my bid. So my bid is my trip. My line is 4 trips. My first trip starts on the 3rd. It is a red eye to Columbus. And the great thing there is I come in for my last May trip on June 2nd, about 9 o'clock at night. So this at least gives me 24 hours in base before my next trip, so I can actually go home and prepare for my trip, cook, take care of the cats, cuddle with the cats, and have at least 24 hours at home before I go off on another trip. The trip is only 64 hours and 37 minutes away from base, so I'm not going to be gone from home for that long. It's fantastic. I'm gonna have 3 solid days off before my next trip, which is also a red eye. So it's almost like having 4 days off. That trip is, the first trip I should say, is a 25, almost 26 hour layover in Columbus. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do in Columbus, but I've got 26 hours to do it. And then I have a short layover in Dallas that's 15 hours. It's a 4-day trip, but that long layover makes it feel more like a 3-day trip. The next trip is a 30-hour Philadelphia layover. And then, excuse me, and I've got a 16-hour layover in Houston. That trip, I'm away from base 73 hours and 54 minutes. It's blocked at, those two trips are both blocked at 17 and a half hours. The next trip, which is on the 17th, is one that, okay, good, I will be working this trip. It's a 4-day trip. I've got 3 layovers. I've got 19 hours in Fort Lauderdale, 17 hours in Baltimore, and 11 hours in Atlanta. Not a very long layover. But one of the legs, my first day, is a deadhead. So it's going to be a super easy day. I work from Vegas to Houston, and then I deadhead from Houston to Fort Lauderdale. So it's like a breeze. This trip, it's a 4-day. It's blocked at 15 hours. Well, not good. I'll take it. The last trip of the month is inconsequential. It's going to be taken off of my schedule. It is a trip that starts on the 24th, and it runs through the 27th. It's got a Houston layover, a New Orleans layover, and an Atlanta layover. All 3 layovers are very short and not very pleasant. So it doesn't matter if that trip is being pulled off my schedule because I have vacation week that week. Unfortunately, with my airline, we're not allowed to work on top of our schedules, vacation schedules, unfortunately, because that would mean a lot of money. I was just watching Deanne Ford, one of my favorite flight attendants. She works for an airline that rhymes with Frontier. They can work on their vacations and like they get paid for both. I mean, I'm so jealous about that. But they also have to clean their planes. I don't want to clean a plane. So that last trip is being taken off. So I'm going to have 3 trips for the month of June. And none of them are very difficult. They're all super easy. I'm a chaser this month in June. I'll be a chaser. So I'll be the 4th flight attendant that works with the lead up in the front. So I won't be flying lead at all during June, but that's fine. I'm super excited. And the reason I'm excited is that because I'll be paid my 28 hours of vacation, that trip that they're taking away from me is 18 hours and 22 minutes. So they're going to take that trip away. But I'm going to get credit for 28 hours. So it's 10 more hours credit than what my schedule shows. So instead of 72 hours and 22 minutes, I'll get a credit of like 81 or 82 hours for June. So that's to work 3 super easy trips. Fine with me. So that is how I bid, because I'm sure I filmed a little bit about how I bid, what I was bidding for. And finally, to tell you what I got. So super excited. I'm very, very pleased. I got my first choice, and it's a chaser one. And lastly, before I go, especially if you're in Las Vegas, you'll know what our base is like. But Las Vegas right now has 638 flight attendants that are able to bid, and out of that, I'm 360. Now, I want to say it was 2 years ago, I was 399 or something like that. About 2 years ago, I think. I was 399. Now I'm 360. So I haven't jumped up in seniority, but it's definitely changing. So I'm super excited about that. There you go. That's how I bid, what I bid for, and what I was awarded for my bid. There you go. Now I'm going to clean up. I've been snacking on my little oranges, and I have to clean up this room before I hop in bed and fall into a coma. All right, so I'll see you guys later. You have a good night. Fly safe. Bye.